They didn't say the names. But they didn't have to. Because the G20 just confirmed the exact system that XRP and XLM were built for. While most of crypto is still chasing hype, memes, and overnight pumps, world leaders quietly agreed on something far bigger, a global framework for digital settlement. And guess which two networks already match that blueprint line for line? Stay until the end, because there's a price prediction coming that could surprise a lot of people. And it's only just beginning. When the G20 released their digital finance statement, most people scrolled past it. It looked like another round of political fluff, sustainability, inclusion, climate talk. But hidden deep inside the document was one quiet line that changes everything. Developing frameworks for interoperable, token-based settlement systems. That single sentence means the world's largest economies just agreed on a unified digital settlement layer, one that runs on interoperability, speed, and liquidity. And if that sounds familiar, it should. Because that's exactly what Ripple and Stellar have been building for years. While others were focused on speculation, Ripple was in boardrooms with central banks designing compliant payment corridors. Stellar, meanwhile, worked with the United Nations, MoneyGram, and Circle to move real funds across borders, not as hype, but as infrastructure. They weren't building buzz. They were building the foundation. Now the G20 just confirmed that this is the direction the world is heading. They didn't name XRP or XLM, they never do. But the language they used? Interoperability. Digital settlement. Liquidity corridors. That's Ripple. That's Stellar. The blueprint is already written. The only question left is, whose rails are ready to go live first? XRP is the institutional engine. The bridge asset built for banks, liquidity providers, and payment networks. It solves one of the hardest problems in global finance, instant value transfer between systems without pre-funded accounts. That's why Ripple's technology is being tested by central banks in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East right now. XLM, on the other hand, is the human layer. The bridge for people. It connects fintech apps, remittance providers, and humanitarian projects to digital liquidity. While XRP powers institutions, XLM powers inclusion. Together, they complete each other, one for the banks, one for the people, both using the same digital language. And that's what makes this moment historic. Because the G20 just described a global network that already exists. They think they're planning the future, but the infrastructure is already built. The rails are already live. The liquidity is already flowing. And for the first time, the world's policymakers are quietly acknowledging it. This isn't theory. This is rollout. The pilots, the test corridors, the sandboxes, they're already happening behind the scenes. RippleNet is being used in central bank pilots for cross-border payments, while Stellar's tech is helping distribute funds in regions where banking barely exists. That's not a roadmap. That's deployment. Most people still think of crypto as speculation. But XRP and XLM were never built for that. These two networks are about function, not flash. About movement, not memes. What the G20 calls tokenized settlement corridors and liquidity networks are just new names for what Ripple and Stellar already built. That's why this matters so much. Because this isn't about coins, it's about rails. The same projects that were mocked in 2018 are now the backbone of the system global regulators are trying to implement. It's poetic. The same institutions that laughed at blockchain are now designing their entire future on top of it, quietly unfolding, in plain sight. XRP spent years fighting for regulatory clarity, not to win headlines, but because it needed to be compliant before the switch flips. Meanwhile, Stellar spent those years earning trust through real-world partnerships. Different approaches, same mission, building the rails for a world where money moves like data. And that's exactly what the G20 confirmed. The new model isn't about one global currency, it's about interconnected ledgers that communicate. Ripple and Stellar didn't just predict that future, they built it. When you see words like real-time settlement, tokenized liquidity, cross-border interoperability, you're not reading theory. You're reading a description of the XRP ledger and the Stellar network. It's all there, hidden in plain sight. They didn't need to name them. The architecture speaks for itself. It won't happen overnight. It'll be slow. Quiet. And then, all at once, like streaming replacing cable. And when that happens, it won't be announced with fireworks. It'll just happen, through IMF pilots, CBDC integrations, and new corridors that quietly appear. So while influencers chase meme coins and hype, XRP and XLM holders are watching something much bigger unfold: global integration. The confirmation that everything they believed in, the utility, the compliance, the infrastructure, is now being written into official policy. This is bigger than price action. It's about the foundation of a new financial architecture. The G20 didn't announce the start of this system, they confirmed its existence. Before I share my price outlook, a quick reminder. This is not financial advice. These projections are based on data as of October 8, 2025, and reflect personal analysis, not guaranteed outcomes. Always do your own research before investing. If XRP continues to hold above the 275 to 280 range and institutional adoption expands through Q4, I see a realistic move toward 350 to 380 short term. In a stronger scenario, with CBDC corridors and ETF liquidity, we could see a breakout toward $4.50 to $5, and possibly $6 in a full bull cycle. As for XLM, if Stellar breaks above 43 to 45 cents and maintains momentum, I expect movement toward 50 to 55 cents in the coming months. And if Stellar continues expanding through new remittance and central bank partnerships, 60 to 70 cents is within reach, especially as adoption accelerates. So while everyone's still staring at charts, the real move is happening underneath them. Because when the G20 confirms the blueprint, it's no longer a question of if, it's a question of when. And when that switch flips, it won't ask for permission. It'll just start, quietly, efficiently, and globally. This isn't speculation anymore, it's validation. Ripple and Stellar aren't outside the system anymore, they are the system. So what do you think? Will XRP and XLM share the rails, or will one dominate? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe, because tomorrow's video breaks down how the IMF and BIS are preparing to use these networks at scale.